Hi, I'm Kurt Vinson with the Bladen Journal. Welcome to the Saturday Show. My guest this week is Dr. Robert Taylor. He's the Superintendent of Bladen County Schools. Dr. Taylor, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's all mine.
Well, let's get started with your tenure so far with the Bladen County Schools. You've been here about 8 months. Tell us how things have been going and what your main focus has been.
Well, for the past 8 months, I think things have gone really well. I've had an opportunity to really get out, learn the community, get into the schools, see the different things that they're doing, getting to know the teachers, the students, really just trying to get a lay of the land. I think the most important thing for me has really been trying to see where we are financially, dealing with the budget cuts that we have, and also trying to put in the new standards related to the Common Core essential standards. That's actually a big change for the state. So in that regards, the last 8 months have really been busy, but they've been good months, and I really enjoyed the time that I've had here so far.
All right. Now, the district for a few years now has been kind of making the move more and more into the world of technology.
Yes.
Tell us where that stands at this point.
I think the big piece for Bladen County now is the high school initiative that we have at East and West Bladen High School. This is an initiative where we're putting in Lenovo tablets, and that's going to be a one-to-one program that allows every student at East and West Bladen High School to be able to take that tablet home, use it outside of the school during the school year. This actually accomplishes a few things for the district. One, it closes the technology gap. As you know, our free and reduced lunch population is around 74%. So that's a big difference between those students that have resources outside the school and those that don't. By allowing them to take that technology home, we actually close that technology gap and they're able to learn outside the school. It also helps with the Race to the Top initiative because by 2013-2014, school districts will have to begin to engage in online testing. So this allows us to have those devices to be able to manage that online testing. In addition to that, we now have the wireless infrastructure in all 13 schools. Before the Race to the Top initiative, it was somewhat sporadic. We had hot spots here, hot spots there. But as a result of that grant, we've now been able to go in and redo the entire wireless infrastructure, which now prepares us to be able to do that online learning as well as to be able to do one-to-one initiatives in virtually any school that we have.
Now, I can imagine having grandkids even as young as 6 years old that the students are just thrilled with all of this. How are the teachers adapting to this?
And that's a very good question. Students have absolutely no problem adapting, even if they don't own the technology. They have friends that use it, they see it in school every day, so they can adapt rather quickly. Teachers, on the other hand, is a bit different. Teachers are not afraid of technology. However, what they are afraid of is what the students know and what they don't know. So that can make any teacher apprehensive, whether you're a college professor, whether you're a high school teacher or a kindergarten teacher. So obviously they're a bit nervous about that. But the one thing that I've told teachers is that they are the masters of pedagogy and they have the content knowledge. So when they're able to take the technology and use that to guide their pedagogy and help students understand the content, I think they're going to be fine. The one thing that we've done is to give at the high school the teachers the Lenovo tablets before the students actually come. So that gives them this entire semester to learn the device, to learn the learning platform, which will be Edmodo. It's sort of like Blackboard, but it's an online platform that's free. It gives them opportunity to be able to plan out lessons, and actually they have that entire time between now and when kids come back to school in the fall to learn all the nuances of how to deliver digital content.
Right. I can imagine the students wouldn't have any problem going at lightning speed with this, and the teachers just want to pull in the reins a little bit.
Absolutely.
Looking ahead a little, it won't be too much longer before you'll be tracking the budget process. What challenges do you see ahead for that?
Oh, big challenges. As with all school districts in the state, we're still looking at financial reductions. The state is still scheduled to do a discretionary reduction, and simply what that is the state will send you money. Take, for example, Bladen County, we may get $32 million from the state. And out of that, they will say, you need to send us back $1 million. And we'll leave it up to you, to your discretion, where that money comes from. But that discretionary reduction is scheduled to increase this year. So what may have been $1 million now may be $1.2, $1.3 million. When you look at the local budget for Bladen County, and for most school districts, about 95% of your funding is going to be spent on personnel. Here in Bladen, it's about 92, 93%. So what that means is that if we have any kind of major reduction in funding, in order to close that gap, more than likely it's going to impact personnel.
Right.
So that's the scary part, that we know this budget is coming. We know there are going to be increases in medical care. Retirement rate is going up. All of those things impact the bottom line, and what we want to do is to be able to find the best way to close that gap and not damage the instructional program, because that's what's most important.
I know in this past year, Bladen County was lucky enough to find a way to keep personnel intact for the most part. Teacher assistants were kept, none were lost. Unlike our neighbor Robeson County, who lost a whole bunch of teacher assistants because of budget problems. So at this point, we're just crossing our fingers that something can happen the same way for us. Okay. Speaking of schools, and I know this is also kind of folds into the budgetary situation, what kind of shape are the schools themselves in?
I was quite surprised that the Bladen County schools are in pretty good shape. Obviously, we have the two new high schools that are now about, well, we call them new, but they're about 10 years old, but in school terms, that's still relatively good. We do have buildings that are much older. For example, the Tar Heel Middle School main building, I think, was built in 1927. We're actually in the process of replacing the flooring in the front part of the building. As I understand it, is the original flooring. So if you think about 1927 to 2012, that's a long time. So we've been able to renovate that. We have a renovation project at Bladenboro Middle School where we're redoing the auditorium. So for all of those Bladenboro High School graduates, they can come back and walk across that original stage where they graduated on. So that project is coming real well. But for the most part, our buildings are in fine shape. One of the things that I've asked the maintenance director to do is to do an evaluation of where we are with all physical plants in terms of how our roofs look, how our HVAC systems are. All of those things require maintenance, and regardless of how well we keep a building maintained, eventually things will wear out, and I just want to make sure that we have a good schedule in terms of how we replace it, how we maintain it, so that we can extend the life of those buildings for as long as possible.
Right. One other thing I wanted to ask you real quick, and this may not be a quick answer, but how are things as far as graduation rates, dropout rates, state testing scores, things like that? How are they progressing?
Right now, we think we're tracking pretty good. We've had the first semester EOC scores at East and West Bladen High School. I've talked with both principals. They feel that they're on track to hopefully exceed the end of the year scores last year. Our graduation rates are stable. The dropout rate, I think we had at the end 90 dropouts. And what happens with the dropout rate is that any kid who drops out of school, for instance, the 2010-2011 school year, you have up to the 20th day of school of the new school year to get those students re-enrolled in school. And all those that don't re-enroll, they count towards the dropout rate. So at the end of the school year last year, we had about 190 students that were listed as dropouts, and we got that number down to 90. So that's actually pretty good. You either have to get them enrolled back in school or determine if they're enrolled somewhere else. So in terms of those numbers, things are stable right now, and we're seeing positive growth, and we just want to continue that.
Right. Well, great. Well, Dr. Taylor, we sure appreciate you joining us and giving us valuable information.
Absolutely.
And we definitely look forward to working with you on these issues down the road.
Okay, and we certainly thank the Bladen Journal for all that you do. You're certainly a great partner for the school system, and I'm so glad to have this type of relationship. So we do thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining us on the Saturday show. You all have a good week.